good morning, and welcome to our presentation about justifications and the importance of justifying your cans. With me today with our Marshall team is Sharon Crump, who will be co-presenting with me. I am Laura Barno, and it is our pleasure to do this training today.
So, what does it mean to justify your ratings? Justify means to prove or show to be just, right, or reasonable.
So, in other words, it means to defend your position. It means to confirm what you're saying, support, and we want evidence. And really think about your justification as a discussion about why you scored as you did.
So, relevancy. We want our justifications to be relevant. Each justification communicates the piece of the story that is relevant to the item being rated. Make sure you include information that pertains to the specific item, including history and suspicions. If you do not have the necessary information about the item, then say no information is available currently. If you have information but there is no evidence of a need, say there is no evidence of a need.
So a justification tells a story, like we said earlier. So here are some examples. You have physical abuse, and remember that trauma is a lifetime experience. And so Haley was beaten with a belt by her mother's boyfriend 2 years ago on multiple occasions. She had multiple bruises, and the belt buckle left a scar on her right arm. That gives you plenty of information to understand the historic and the fact that there is no current abuse. Another example is depression, which is more of a recent occurrence. And for mental health on the fast, a justification would be that Haley was recently diagnosed with depression. She has been described Lexapro, which has not begun to control her symptoms. She cries frequently, sleeps 14 hours a day, and has isolated herself from her friends. This allows the any readers who may pick up your cans subsequently, and we all know that our cans are used for multiple reasons. We have court systems, we have other mental health professionals, we have wraparound providers, all of whom will pick up a cans and will need to understand if something is historic or if it's a current issue.
So, again, we want to make sure that we include item that pertains to the specific item. Items that there is a history or suspicion of a need, except, of course, our trauma items, are rated a 1. Some examples. Substance use. Here's an example of a justification. John misused Oxycontin for 3 years. He's not used any opiates for 2 years. So as you can see, he has a history, but he's not currently using. Here's another substance use example. Mary says she frequently oversleeps due to her allergy medication. On at least 3 occasions during our interviews, she has smelled of alcohol. Mary denies alcohol use. So there again, she's denying. We have no clear-cut evidence that she is using, but we have a suspicion. Okay, we have a suspicion because she smelled of alcohol. So we would rate that a 1.
Rating needs items 0. And so there are going to be occasions when you will rate an item in a 0. First is if you don't have information, you may not know the family well enough, or you just may not see any evidence. And so you would simply put, there is no information available currently. And we see as CANS reviewers, staff at Marshall often see zeros and there's nothing there. And so even though, you may not think you need to put a justification there, it's always helpful to let us know or let the next person who picks up that cans know that you did, you know, review that and that you didn't see any information. Sometimes you will have some information, but you won't have a need. And so the justification first you could say is there is no evidence of a need. A justification two could say considering stating the positive functioning in that area. So instead, if especially with strengths on the cans, you may have a zero that is a really a well-functioning strength that you would want to illuminate. And so a good example is, according to her teacher, Mary has 4 A's and 2 B's in her classes. She attends class every day and is very attentive. And so that would be something that you may want to pull out for case planning later on that is rated 0, but that it actually could be used as a strength.
So just like Laura was saying, a person reading a completed TCOM tool should be able to understand the story being told by the ratings. And it provides information to future readers as well.
So remember, communication really is what a TCOM tool does for us. Your justification communicates the reason that you're giving the rating. It's your evidence. Good justifications require full communication with your families and others with the information regarding the item.
So our TCOM tools are evidence-based. And your justification is the evidence that supports your rating. So here's an example. Haley has missed 42 days of school this semester. She has no excused absences. Haley doesn't like to go to school because the other kids are mean to her. So that is our evidence for rating Haley in the school attendance item or in education if you're using one of the tools that just has education.
Personalization. This is probably one of the key issues that we see when we do CANS reviews is that they are very generic and the justifications don't really personalize. And so we really need to understand the family or the person that's being rated. And they should describe the unique characteristics that led to your rating. The reader should be able to picture that person in their head and you name the person. Don't say patient, client, say Johnny, Mary, Susie.
Okay, moving on to justifying strengths. Strengths follow the same guidelines as the needs, but in the strengths, you want to talk about how a strength is useful or useful to your case planning. Here are some examples. Talents and interests, rating 1. Jared is a gifted artist and has learned to avoid angry outbursts most of the time. Excuse me. Jared is a gifted artist and has learned to avoid angry outbursts most of the time by going to his room and drawing. Jared has not considered, however, that his talents could help him with a future career path. So this is a strength that we could build on and work on, and it could become a centerpiece strength. Here's another one, a family rating 2. Diana's mother has agreed to allow Diana to return home after her residential placement, but has not been available to do discharge planning with the facility. She has visited only 3 times in the year since Diana has been placed out of state, and is only sporadically available for their weekly phone calls. Okay, so this is a justification for an item that really needs a lot of work, right? We're not quite ready for Diana to go home, or neither is her mother.
So let's summarize. So justifications should be relevant. They should provide some continuity so that the next reader of the cans or the next person who works with the family will be able to pick up from where you left off. It should communicate. Our TCOM tools, one of the basic purposes is to communicate. They must have evidence. And so the TCOM tools were built with evidence. And so there needs to be evidence in the CANs, in the FAST, in the ANSA for you to justify what your scores are. And they should be personalized. We want to understand the family and we want to be able to visualize their situation and who they are.
So you want to make sure that all of your items are justified. However, it is not mandatory to justify any items that are not 2s and 3s on the needs or 0s and 1s and 2s on the strengths. However, the best practice is to justify all of your items.
And here is all the TCOM trainers with email addresses. So if you have any questions and you need to reach out, please do so. Thank you.